weren't always interested in just becoming a matrimonial lawyer, and you came from a different kind of law. Can you talk about how you got into law to begin with?
Oh, sure. I have, it's very interesting. It was serendipitous. I had no intention of going to law school, but I had two parents who were very focused on making sure that their three daughters were educated. And I was a little of a wild child, um, in the sense that I'd love to explore things. I'd like to travel. I'd like to do things. I'd like different types of people. And I think that made my parents a little nervous. And one day my dad came home from a dinner party that he attended with my mother. And he told me that he sat down next to this beautiful, brilliant woman who was a corporate lawyer. And when he spoke about her, his eyes lit up. And, he had so much respect for her. And I thought, wow, I'd never seen my father so ignited by a woman, professional, and how he communicated, how much he enjoyed speaking with her and so forth. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to show him that I could do the same thing. So
Wow.
I went to NYU undergraduate. I applied to law school, did not tell my parents. I needed money to file the application, and I was lucky because I had worked um, during college, so I had money. And I filed my applications, and then I got into a few schools. And when I told my dad that I got into law school, I saw that same beautiful excitement. And that's really what I wanted to accomplish. What child doesn't want to please a parent? And my parents were such amazing people. Um, they had sacrificed so much for their kids. So it was such a great pleasure.
Mhm.
And then the trajectory after that has been spectacular.
Right. So you started in corporate law, right? And
Yeah.
what were your first couple, years doing that? What kind of things did you do?
So I started with a very well respected law firm in New York as an intern while I was in law school and working on the first pay TV case. And it was a very, very big litigation. And I knew every single document in that file, and it was going to trial. And at the last minute, the client, who I knew quite well and spent a lot of time going through all the documents, said, "We're changing lawyers. We're going to another law firm. We would like for you to come with us." And I said, "Well, I'll come if you can get me a job there going forward."
Mhm.
And so they opened the door. I ended up, and the offer was to work in the corporate litigation. And so I did, and it was very interesting and very taxing, and then it became very boring for me. But it was very long hours, and my mentor was a gentleman with whom I'm still very, very good friends, who happens to live in Miami right now.
Oh,
Uh,
lovely.
but he retired many years ago. And then one day I was asked by one of the partners, quietly, to help him get his divorce resolved. And
Mhm.
so I started to work with him, and I started to get more familiar and interested. And I thought, wow, this is a fantastic area of the law.
Mhm.
Why? Because it touches on everything. It touches on, of course, personal things. And I admit to being a busybody when it comes to that. So
Mhm.
I love the personal dynamic. Um, and the law, but trust and estate and tax issues. And we had to sell property, so it addressed real estate. So
Mhm.
it seemed to touch on so many different areas of the law that I got really jazzed. And I said, you know what? I really want to do this. So I asked my mentor if I could present to the partner board because they did not have a matrimonial practice. And back in the 80s, it really didn't exist in a big firm. It
Mm.
still doesn't exist in a big firm. Blank Rome is unique in that way. Um, but I asked them if I could present, and they said, well, do a business plan and let us know why you think we should have a matrimonial practice. And I was in my 20s. I didn't even know what a business plan was, but I dug down and I found out how many cases we refer out for matrimonial, who we refer it to, and so forth. And then I came into the partner board meeting and I did a presentation. And we didn't have cell phones back then. So I got to present for like 10 minutes. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
And as I walked out, I get to my office and the phone rings. And my dear, wonderful Alan said to me, no, thumbs down. They're not going to do it. They think it's like ambulance chasing. And
What?
so I was heartbroken because I thought, what a great opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I left after a few months, and I went on my own and worked with a gentleman that I know who had an office. And I said, can I take space from you?
Mm.
And he said, yeah, of course. Well, this other firm, Finley, Campbell, Wagner, Heine, Underberg, and Casey, was sending me a ton of business. It was over my head. But I pivoted into the matrimonial world. P.S. That firm imploded and never survived.
Oh, wow.
And I did.
Right. So best
So
move
it's
you
a
could have
great
made.
story. And I
Yeah.
ended up doing exactly what I love doing, which is, matrimonial law. It's a great area.
So was it hard though for you to make that pivot? Did you have to learn completely new law? Did you have to go
You
study
know,
it
I
somewhere?
was I was a baby,
Mm.
so I was open to anything.
Yeah.
And I was always, a really hard worker. So that seemed to be the best entrance for me, which is you work hard, you're going to learn. I had great people to learn from. I really tried to attach myself to anybody I could that I thought that I could learn from.
Mm-hmm.
And the law is a lesson in progress.
Mm-hmm.
The more you do it, the better you are.
Right.
And if, I always say to my own kids, how are you going to be successful? Work hard, and work harder.
Right.
And that's the bottom line. So yes, there's a learning curve, but I was learning anyway. And I just implemented what I thought were the most important things. And that was to surround myself with good people, intelligent people,
Mm-hmm.
and do my work, do my research and so forth.
I'm curious, as a young woman starting in a new line of work in the matrimony law, how does somebody value like whether or not you're good? I guess because it's not like other law where you either win or you lose, right? I mean,
Well, you
how
do.
did you?
You
Okay.
can, you're a trial lawyer, so you do
Mm,
win or lose. I try to negotiate settlements because I think that benefits everyone.
mm-hmm.
How do you evaluate a good lawyer? I think the best way is references, people that you've worked with. That's how I get my business. And, because I've been doing this for over 41 years, I've represented a lot of people. I've come in contact with a lot of people, and they see you. They see you in court. They see how you argue. They see how you advocate for your client.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, when your client is happy, that client is going to share that news.
Right.
And that's how you build your practice.